This is Think Out Loud on OPB. I'm Jen Chavez, in today for Dave Miller. To begin today's show, we're keeping our attention on the wildfires burning in Oregon right now. Dozens of fires have burned hundreds of thousands of acres in the state. And working alongside state, local, and federal agencies to contain them are volunteer firefighting teams called Rangeland Fire Protection Associations, or RFPAs. These teams, made up of ranchers and private landowners, are uniquely well equipped to navigate the terrain on rangelands in their own communities. Here with us today are two Oregon ranchers contributing to these efforts right now in Central Oregon. Ted Netter is the fire supervisor of the Lower Bridge RFPA, serving Jefferson and Deschutes counties. He's also the chairman of the Oregon RFPA Advisory Committee. And Ross Rhino is a member of the Twickenham RFPA, serving parts of Wheeler County. Ted Netter and Ross Rhino, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So, Ted, can you start us off by just telling us how Rangeland Fire Protection Associations, RFPAs, work and where they operate in Oregon?
Well, RFPAs were a brilliant build out from the forest protection associations that were, started in the 1900s. RFPAs came into existence in 1963 in Ironside, Oregon, in the far east side. How they work is we're chartered by the state under statute. We work under an agreement with the state forester to protect private lands east of the Cascade Crest that are not under ODF protection. Mm-hmm. There are 29 RFPAs that cover approximately 18 million acres of Oregon.
Wow. Why are these associations needed? What gaps in fire protection are y'all working together to fill in RFPAs?
Well, there's, a large percentage of Oregon is private land, and not all of it is covered by any kind of a rural department, a federal agency, the State Department of Forestry, or anything else without the existence of rangeland associations. And so we but we also work on state, federal land, county lands. My association protects our county lands. They're actually a member of our association. Ross can tell you a lot about Wheeler County. It's covered by 3 RFPAs, and they all work hand in glove. So we fill the gap with local knowledge, equipment that is, as suited to the terrain as can be, and we're all trained wildfire firefighters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned that you work with other agencies. How do RFPAs coordinate with those other agencies when you're out there fighting fires? Like, for example, the Oregon Department of Forestry, other state or federal agencies that might be in your area collaborating with you as well.
And Ross can speak to this a lot, but we're one team. So we work with them during fires, off season. We all have local units of the Department of Forestry that we're tied in with. Same thing with the federal agencies, the U.S. Wildfire Service, the Forest Service, and same thing with any rural fire departments in our area. So we run a common comms plan. Currently, we're cloned. My association is cloned in on the Aqua fire. I have people currently running operations with that fire, and they're in full communication and full support of each other.
Yeah, Ross Rhino, I want to turn to you now. You've been a member of the Twickenham Rangeland Fire Protection Association for a few years now, but I understand you've been assisting folks in your area with fires on a smaller scale before that. What made you want to join up, and how has being in an RFPA been different than what you were doing before?
Yeah, absolutely. For years, I mean, we've had lightning strikes that'll cause fires out here. And, we're a real small, tight community, and pretty much everybody around puts everything down to come and help fight the fires. And it's still something that continues to happen even with the RFPs in place. And so coming from a history of just doing that to help my neighbors and the community, when the opportunity to join the RFPA came along, it was exciting because with the RFPA, they provide us with training. They provide us with a lot of equipment, surplus, and reduced costs to our association. And so by having more tools that we need to do these jobs, it has allowed us to kind of do a lot more professional work. It's allowed us to kind of get organized. In the past, it would be a lot of neighbors kind of going in a bunch of different directions, and this way it allows us to be kind of a united front on how we're attacking these fires and different things.
Mm-hmm. And as Ted mentioned, he said that you can speak a lot to the kind of collaboration that y'all offer and the skills that y'all offer to the folks who you are working with. As a member of an RFPA, can you speak more to that? What benefit do you feel you are bringing to the table and providing when you're working together with these state and federal agencies to fight fires?
Absolutely, yeah. Oftentimes before the RFPA, you kind of get an odd response, depending upon the agency. If just a landowner or just an employee of landowner showed up, they oftentimes had their own ways of doing things, and the communication wasn't always that great. Now with the RFPAs established, ODF, BLM, they're looking for the RFPA people. They know that the RFPA people, when they arrive, they're going to have the local knowledge. Most often, depending upon where it is in the county, the RFPAs can usually make it to the fire before the agencies. These agencies are ODF, State Forestry, they're coming out of Fossil. BLM has come out of Prineville or John Day. And so oftentimes the RFPAs are on scene prior to the agency arriving. And so because of that, they have a lot of firsthand knowledge of what the agency needs to expect and just local knowledge on top of that.
Mm-hmm. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about the firefighting work of rangeland fire protection associations with two Oregon ranchers and RFPA members, Ted Netter and Ross Rhino. Ted, I want to turn now to the fires you've both been fighting in recent days this season. Ted, as I mentioned at the top, you're a fire supervisor for the Lower Bridge Rangeland Fire Protection Association. And like you said, you've been helping fight the Aqua Butte fire. What have the challenges that you and your fellow members have been facing been against that fire?
Well, I mean, challenges. It started or was discovered on a Thursday early afternoon. Mm-hmm. One of the challenges is 2:00 that morning, Wednesday morning, Ross and I were fighting to fire together on his ground in Twickenham. So exhaustion, coordination. So the biggest challenge is always when a lot of fires hit the ground is getting resources in the right place. And our local resources get there faster and we can hit things really hard. So working through that, team changeovers, because it was a local response team to begin with. Then it turned to an ODF team. Ross is dealing with CIMT, so national team. Those are the challenges, but the conditions on the ground are, I mean, it's rough. Fire's not a nice business. But, we're not the only ones. Right now, I've tied in with pretty much all parts of the RFPA system. To the best estimation, we have 20 of the 29 RFPAs engaging fire on unknown total personnel and pieces of apparatus, but in the hundreds and hundreds. I mean, we're all facing these challenges right now, but we're also all one team. We work together, trade parts, support each other.
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, this is tough, demanding work you're doing physically, probably mentally as well. And as a fire supervisor, I mean, what do you have in mind when it comes to like exactly what you're talking about, keeping everyone safe and supporting each other out there, either on your team or on other RFPAs while y'all are in the thick of it?
I mean, we check in and check out with each other on fire so we're safe. We work with the cooperators, the teams around us. Try to keep a good spirit. I mean, the folks in Twickenham there, man, I hear nothing but great things about how they support each other and how they can get a light moment. And that's so important on the line and in the middle of it. And it's the same way across the state. But we check each other's safety equipment. We keep in good comms. I mean, we use things that the federal agencies don't. I was a heavy equipment boss for almost, two and part of another divisions for a few days, filling a gap. And I was able to use a live GPS program. So we actually, four of us knew exactly where each other were at every single moment while we were on that fire.
Ross, Rhino, how about you? I know your RFPA has been helping to fight the Roe Creek complex fire, and I know that this has kind of been right in your own backyard, affecting you and your fellow members personally sometimes. What has that looked like for you in recent days, and what have y'all been doing on that fire?
Well, we've been working hard. I haven't looked at a map that well, but I think the boundaries of the Twickenham, our district, I think they're pretty well all have burnt. But the challenges we've been facing, I think it was just over a week ago, we had a big lightning storm come through. And, for every lightning strike, someone has to go find it and determine if there's a fire. And when you have multiple strikes, it takes your team, it takes everybody, spreads them out, and before long you have fires. And so out of this storm, we ended up getting quite a few fires. And, just the terrain and the geography of Wheeler County, it's hard to be everywhere at once. And so we've been pretty scattered. We are real fortunate that there's a incident management team that's been taken over to coordinate this. But with that, they've been real generous to us as an RFPA. They listen to us, they work with us. And so we're still able to be right in there and use our local knowledge to help. But I think the biggest challenge is just when we have multiple lightning strikes or multiple fire starts, whatever they may be, is just having enough personnel and enough time in the day to cover all the fires.
Mm-hmm. I know that a big part of what rangeland fire protection associations in Oregon are all about is this concept of neighbors helping neighbors. And I'd love to hear from both of you how you've been seeing that or have experienced that in recent days. Ross, if we want to stick with you for just a second, how has that been showing up for you in your work right now?
Yeah, for sure. We've had some close calls. We've had a lot of homes, a lot of structures we protected, and it's just beyond humbling the support you get from your neighbors and whatever you want to call neighbors. We have two other RFPAs in this community, and there's I don't know if you call it a friendship or a brotherhood there that, if you don't have a fire in your RFPA at the moment, you go and help the other RFPA. And individuals alike, I mean, they don't have to be an RFPA, they don't have to be anything but a neighbor, and it's really neat that the RFPA took up that phrase, because it's 100% true. I mean, without the neighbors, without other people coming and getting involved, none of this would be possible.
Hmm. Ted, how about you? How have you seen that idea of neighbors helping neighbors come up in your work in recent days fighting fires?
I mean, Ross is spot on. And in the agriculture community, ranching, farming, natural resources, our concept of neighbors is kind of big because, I heard it said that a neighbor is anywhere you can drive to in a day or two. And it's literally that way with us. Doesn't matter if it's the far southeastern corner of the state, down in Jordan Valley and Blue Mountain RFPA country, and they fight fire in Idaho and Nevada as well. And the Warner Valley RFPA helps cover part of California. Um, it's unbelievable how people that care can come together and do good things. And we see it from our agencies too. I mean, there's federal and state firefighters that when they get off shift on their own time, they come in and help RFPAs because they're part of our communities too. And it's the same thing with the rural county employees. It's just Oregon's a special place when it comes to this.
Well, I just want to thank you both for taking time out of all your work to come share with us today and for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ted Netter is the fire supervisor of the Lower Bridge RFPA. Ross Rhino is a member of the Twickenham RFPA.